want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I was just thinking about just trying to come up with some type of an intro,
Yeah.
Welcome to whatever we're going to call it, Wholehearted. Welcome to the Wholehearted podcast.
Do you feel good about Wholehearted?
That sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I feel really good about it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll go with it.
So welcome to the Wholehearted podcast. I was just trying to think about. Are we recording?
Yep. Trying to catch you off guard,
All right.
Don't you be too prepped.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Wholehearted podcast and YouTube series. Tyler and Chase here. I'm actually Chase. I need to quit putting Tyler first. I'm Chase. This is Tyler.
Welcome, guys. Chase and I were just actually out here in the mountain behind my house. Today we're getting ready to try to continue trying to develop our ideas and our platform for the Love Strong project that we've got going and for this whole podcast. And we came up with some really good ideas today, and we've just been kind of mulling over some of those things and hope to have some real solid concepts coming that we'll start to outline in the future podcasts that are coming up. We talked a lot today about the idea of what it means to be wholehearted. And really that's the whole goal here for our project is that we're in pursuit of trying to become wholehearted. We're constantly looking for ways to feel like we're living a completely wholehearted lifestyle. And we wanted to be able to outline the principles of what it means to be wholehearted and then go on a journey with you in the process of continually living wholehearted until the day we die. And one of the concepts that we talked about today was the result of being wholehearted is that we live where we experience a feeling of power, a feeling of freedom, and a feeling of peace in the way that we're living our lives. And that's kind of the core principles we've been talking about.
Yeah, that being the fruit. And, we're up here in the mountains. It's amazing. The scenery around us, got perfectly blue skies, snow-capped mountains far off in the distance. And one of the coolest things that's going on right now, I don't know if you maybe even just saw that one fly by, but there are butterflies literally everywhere. And by the thousands, in droves, they're coming through.
It really is.
We got up here and we sat and we just stared out, looked at them flying by. And it reminded me of two things. One time when Chelsea and we went out to the Henry's Fork. While we were out there paddling around in the water, we decided to stop on the bank of the water, and there was a butterfly that just started going around us a little bit. It landed on a leaf of this little flower, and I stuck my finger down to it, and it just crawled right onto it. So I was able to pick up and look at the butterfly at a few different angles. It opened its wings for me and just kind of showed me how beautiful it was, and then it flew off. The moment lasted maybe 15 seconds total, but it was really cool and really special. And that's kind of what this moment is feeling like right now. Coming up here, trying to keep some momentum on this project that we're passionate and we care about, and having this, again, a little God wink of hey, you guys are on the right track, keep it up.
It feels like a God winks moment. It reminds me also of being my childhood. I remember having one year like this where there were butterflies everywhere and just being so amazed by it and mesmerized by it. And really as an adult, it's no different than it was as a kid. Just when we sat down for a few minutes and we were just kind of getting prepped, it really was kind of like God winking and saying, I don't know how you guys are going to get there, but keep going. We're going to figure this out as we go. And this was just like God's way maybe of stepping in and saying, well, if nothing else, I'm going to throw a bone to you guys for trying. Yeah. So you referenced, Chase, this whole butterfly thing. You said there was a name for it.
So these are a butterfly grouping. You know how whales come in pods and bees are by hives or hordes. Butterflies, They're called kaleidoscopes. What a beautiful name. And you think about, if you take a butterfly and its form, spread its wings, and you see the perfect symmetry. Whenever I had an art class that I was taking, I was learning a lot about light and color back in Florida, and I went to a gallery one night, and there was a man who lived about an hour and a half away, deep in the woods, total hillbilly redneck man. And you don't think about a hillbilly redneck being an artist, but he was creating kaleidoscopes and putting them on display in galleries. And so you could go experience the gallery where it's got normal paintings and drawings and sculpture all around. And you could also pick up this kaleidoscope and go see the same things again in this different view. And the beauty of it was just mesmerizing. Like you were saying, seeing all those butterflies when you were a kid. That I remember distinctly holding that piece of brass in my hand with the glass and looking through and just seeing all these amazing images. And it reminds me of butterflies, the way they have that symmetry, and the reflection that you see inside of a kaleidoscope does that exactly. So it seems like the perfect term.
Yeah, it is a great term for it, and it's almost like I told you when we got here, I said it looks like it's snowing because of the butterflies that were floating through before we recognized what they were, and it really is just a beautiful sight.
Oh yeah.
And one of the other things that you mentioned when you were telling me about the kaleidoscope I thought was really interesting was that concept of how butterflies travel and migrate, and that idea that, I still don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
But there's something that they're going to that's going from south to north, and there's a whole bunch of them, so there's obviously a big party somewhere. And, and the idea that you were talking to me about was that the necessity of having good leadership and having a brotherhood or a team, in the sense that these butterflies don't necessarily travel alone. They travel with other butterflies, and it's necessary to have a good leader that's not going to get you either eaten by the birds or gone the wrong direction. And I would imagine, I don't know, this is something we probably ought to research, but imagine that at the party there's going to be some procreation going on. You don't want to be missing out on that part of the party either. And
I mean, that's why there are so many of them, all right? I don't think they hatch in one pod.
That's a pretty powerful drive too. So, but that idea of needing to be with good people and a good leader and having a team so that you can go and navigate those things in life that are a little bit difficult, especially as we try to go to our final journey. And I thought that was kind of a really cool concept that you taught me today that really applies to the way that we need to be living our lives if we really want to be able to step out into a world where we have to step into risk and vulnerability and struggle in order to really live the way that we want to live. To have that wholehearted lifestyle, it really is nice to have a safe place to fall in the form of mentors or teammates or sponsors or other people that can kind of keep us going and keep the arrow pointed in the right direction, and also even walk the road with us or travel with us. And that was just a really cool concept that you taught me today.
Yeah, kind of building off of that, having a mentor is critical. I've had a few different mentors throughout my life. I know we even talked about this last time we were in this same place, and the guidance that you can receive from somebody who has been there and who knows the landscape, knows the threats. I have been on the receiving end of that for so long. I've always felt like, maybe even just because of the position in my family, I'm the fifth of six. I've always had older siblings to look up to. My younger brother and myself, I think at some points he said that he looks up to me, but it doesn't really click that, maybe Chubbs looks up to me. It's more so that I think that I'm a young man looking up to my elders and being the one to receive. And not that I can just decide that, hey, I'm going to be a mentor now. I got to go find somebody to mentor. But I want to be prepared. I want to be the type of man that's already living those principles, so that when I'm naturally in my state of running wild and living wholeheartedly, somebody who is confused, is wondering, what are my next steps? How do I approach this situation in my life? That they can find some guidance by looking around and saying, hey, look at this guy. He's got something going on. I don't know what it is. And that's how I've always felt. I never could quite put my finger on what it was, but I felt drawn to my mentors through the qualities that they were exuding. And you don't have those qualities unless you've been living them.
Yeah, and you're developing them, and I think that's the beauty of kind of the world we live in. As you're talking, I was just thinking of my own mentors, some of my business mentors. In fact, I was just thinking about one of them. His name is Kip. He was my boss when I was up in Idaho at the drug courts. And I remember one day he sat me down, and in kind of a boss interview thing, and he unloaded his books in front of me and said, hey, I know you're talented enough. I think you ought to go out on your own sometime, and here's how you should do it. And he showed me his whole business model. He showed me the kind of money he was making. He showed me exactly what I needed to do in my private practice to be successful. And I was just thinking about this 2 days ago when I was looking at how grateful I was for my practice, my business, and really where it's going and how it's kind of flourished. And I feel really blessed by that. And in a lot of ways, I went and copied what Kip taught me.
Yeah.
And he just openly gave that to me. And that idea that at any given time, Kip will always be a mentor of mine, and yet I can now be in the process of looking to help the next man and be a mentor in some other way to them, whether it's through business or through what I do with a living and with like recovery work, or all of that stuff allows us the opportunity not only to be a mentor or to need a mentor, but to also be a mentor, and we can continually grow into those places. And I think there's a benefit to experiencing both sides of that coin. It continues our growth totally.
Right. There was a teacher at Florida State University where I attended who was a visiting professor. He wasn't faculty there, hadn't spent, I think he had gone to school there maybe when he was a younger man, went off, moved away, had his career, and was very successful in his endeavors. His name's Ken Von Rohn, and he has one of the, I think it might even be the largest glass sculpture of all. I don't know if there's a cap to it. It is on a skyscraper in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
On the top.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty incredible to have your art piece be the crown of a building. Yeah, that says a lot, and you're doing a lot there. And some of his other pieces are amazing. He works with glass that is not only stained glass, but what is it called? Not bioluminescent, pearlescent. Iridescent, that's the one. All the essence, there's a bunch of them. Iridescent glass has this really beautiful shine and shimmer to it. Pearlescent has that almost that film, that oily film look to it, and you touch it and it's just pure and clean. So he works with that type of stuff and makes sculptures out of it. He has been successful for years. He's been working, busting his chops, doing all this. And when he came down to FSU to be a faculty there, everybody was looking around like, this guy,
why is he here?
Yeah, what?
He's already arrived.
Ken, what are you doing here, man? Yeah, you've made it. Why are you here?
Yeah.
But the reality is, he wanted to share. He wanted to give back, and he vocalized that explicitly in one of the courses that I was able to take, a public art course where he did some of the sessions with us. And man, I learned a lot from that guy. Some of the things that you learn, doesn't matter. I think I'm about to get tangential. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so true in what you said. I was thinking about some of my other mentors that way as well, and really it led me back to a conversation I had with my girls a couple of months ago, my two older girls, when I was just in their bedroom talking to them one night about the purpose of life. And we all kind of came to the conclusion that there is really no purpose to life unless you've left a mark on somebody else's life for good. And everything we do, it provides some type of an opportunity for that. But really, having that mentorship in our lives, someone's leaving a mark on our lives, and we turn around and we leave the world a better place as a result. And enough people living that way, according to that principle, makes the world a pretty awesome place to be in, you know? So.
That's so true.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You got anything else we want to talk about today, or?
I'm sure we will have plenty of opportunities in the future. I feel good about it.
I do think, I think it would be nice to maybe once in a while just kind of impromptu record some of our conversations before we start recording.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of that really good stuff comes out then too as well. So.
And it comes out naturally. I do want to get better at just setting up and rolling with it instead of.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too much of a, hey, this is the amount of time, lights, camera, action kind of feel. So
I want that as well, and I do think it would be maybe a good idea, since we're on this platform trying to live the journey of wholeheartedness, to let whoever's going to be following us, which is 0 people right now, but eventually we'll have some people that want to be part of the platform with us.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to show our growth process because we know
we're in process.
Yeah, we know right now, especially with this kind of stuff, we're definitely in process.
Yeah.
We're basically novice. and I think it would be fair to just show that process as we kind of learn and get better and be able to, even just the way we fleshed out ideas today, it would have been nice to even just demonstrate that we're still getting our concept down. We all know the principles, and you and I really agree on how we want to live our lives, but
right.
to have it to kind of continue to kind of hone down how we're going to be able to present it and make it something that everyone else can kind of grab onto as well.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, a cool process to let them in on. So
yeah, it's kind of, it's behind the scenes of what we're actually doing.
Right.
Not just the front, not just the stage.
So
I
I always get so worried about wanting everything to try to be perfect until we come and do something like this and realize we got so far to go that we can't even fake being perfect.
Yeah.
So we might as well
embrace it.
Yeah, we might as well just embrace it and let it kind of happen organically. So
yeah, I agree.
So hopefully there's something valuable we talked about today.
I think so.
Good.
If nothing else, I'll be able to go back and edit this and think we did it.
Perfect, man. Sweet.
All right.